In the NASCAR Xfinity Series over 40 years in the sport, there have been many numbers come and go. On any given weekend, you will see 36 unique numbers on the track, and each of those numbers has a story to tell. Hi, I'm your host Matt, and this is NASCAR Number History presented by Dogleg Media. In this series, we look to tell the stories of each of those numbers. Who first ran the number, who first won with the number, the driver who visited victory lane the most, and every other driver to grab a trophy in the number. We also mention suggestions provided by you, the viewer. This is Xfinity Series Number History, and today we look at numbers 0 through 4. If you missed the Cup Series Number History, that playlist will be linked below. Be sure to check it out after this one. But with that out of the way, let's dive in to some Xfinity Series Number History. Alright, I admit it. I should have started the Cup Series Number History with the 0. It only makes sense, and because I didn't, the finale had 11 numbers in it. I won't make that mistake this time around. Let's get Xfinity Series Number History started with the 0. The 0 has one win with one different driver. It's competed in 502 total races with a 0.2 win percentage. The first time the Xfinity Series would see the 0 would be in 1983. Alan Applegate would take the 0 to Bristol for its first appearance and finished a respectable 14th. Applegate would only make 10 Xfinity Series starts in his NASCAR career, so this shouldn't come as a surprise, but there are no photos. And now we move on to the only winner. The number's only trophy belongs to Dick McCabe. Dick would win at Oxford Plains in 1988. This would be his only victory in a 20-race career that spanned 11 years from 1984 until 1994. Known as the Irish Angel, he would also win back-to-back Busch North Series championships in 1992 and 1993. And then we move on to honorable mentions. And I want to start this segment out by saying y'all gave some pretty amazing suggestions. However, the majority of the suggestions were winners, and they are already featured. So the honorable mentions portion may be a little bit light for this episode. Moving forward, give me some non-winners and I will gladly feature them here. Hot Wheels, Marcus, Divine, Impact, and Dylan all mentioned Garrett Smithley. He would run the JD Motorsports 0 from 2016 to 2019. He would record one top 5, finishing 5th at Daytona in 2018. And then we move on to the current driver. And man, who missed the Tombstones? I know I did. They've made their long-awaited return. The last time the number saw the track would be in 2021 with Jeffrey Earnhardt. He would run all but 3 races in the JD Motorsports 0 ride, the other 3 being in the 15, with the last appearance for the number being the season finale at Phoenix. And hey, at least we didn't start off winless. That's a relief. Now we move on to the 1, and this one's kind of cool. Had this series started a couple months ago, we would be talking about the number having 2 less wins and 1 fewer winner. Let's jump in. The number 1 has won 26 total races with 13 different winners. It's competed in 1,022 races and counting, and it has a 2.5 win percentage. The number 1 would debut in the Xfinity Series first season. The number 1 would debut in the Xfinity Series first season. Pete Silva would take the 1 to Martinsville in 1982 for its first ever race, grabbing a 10th place finish with it. Pete would make 64 Xfinity Series starts spanning from 1982 until 1995. And also, look at that number placement. And people complain about the next gen. Unbelievable. And then we move on to the first to win. The first to take the number 1 to victory lane would be Morgan Shepherd. Shepherd would win at IRP in 1984 for the number's first win. He would win 3 times in the 1 in 1984 for Lindy White Racing in just 14 starts. Shepherd is a 15-time winner in the Xfinity Series, and he made 453 total starts over a period of 33 years. His first race would be in 1982, and his last would come in 2019. That's impressive. And now we move on to the driver with the most wins. Jimmy Spencer is the winningest driver in the number's history with 4 wins. Spencer would win these 4 races from 2001 to 2002 driving for Phoenix Racing. Jimmy is a 12-time winner in the Xfinity Series, making 212 starts over 20 years. So you know we'll be talking about him more in this series. And now we move on to other winners, and we have quite a few other winners to touch on. So let's get started. And we start out with a big one. Jeff Gordon would win 3 times in the 1 car. All 3 wins would come in 1992 in a Ford for Bill Davis Racing. That's right, Before Gordon was a Chevy for Life guy, he drove and won in a Ford. But then again, he was originally supposed to be with Roush, so there's that. Just look at that Baby Ruth car also. Very nice. And then we move on to Elliott Sadler. Sadler would finish out his full-time Xfinity career in the number 1 car. His first season with the 1 would be with Roush Fenway in 2015, and then he would spend 3 seasons with Junior Motorsports from 2016 until 2018. He would win 3 times, all coming in 2016. He would finish second in the points in back-to-back seasons of 2016 and 2017. Sadler is a 13-time winner in the Xfinity Series, and this isn't the last time in this video that we'll be hearing his name. And then there's Jamie McMurray. Jamie Mack would win twice in the Phoenix Racing number 1 in 2003, sweeping that season's Rockingham races. McMurray is an 8-time winner in the Xfinity Series, so again, we'll be seeing more of him in this series. And then we move on to another legend. Mark Martin would win 2 times in the 1 car. He would drive it for Bill Davis Racing from 1989 and 1990, grabbing 1 win apiece in each of those seasons. Martin is second all-time on the Xfinity Series wins list with 49 total victories. And then we move on to an Xfinity Series legend. Randy LaJoie would also grab 2 wins in the number 1. Driving for Phoenix Racing, he would win in 1999 at Daytona and in 2000 at Nashville. Randy is a 2-time Xfinity Series champion and was named to one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers as well. And now we move on to 1-time winners. Let's get through these. Josh Berry would win at Las Vegas in 2021, filling in for an injured Michael Annett, making only 5 starts in the 1 car. That's pretty impressive. And then Kurt Busch would win at Daytona in 2012, driving for Phoenix Racing. He would only make 7 starts in the 1 car. That's also impressive. Johnny Sauter's lone win in the 1 car came at the Milwaukee Mile in 2005 for, you guessed it, Phoenix Racing. I'm definitely going to need to do a team history video on Phoenix Racing. They have some relevance in Cup and Xfinity. And then Mike Bliss would get his last Xfinity Series win in the 1 car. Driving for Phoenix as well, he would win at Charlotte in 2009. This would be a mix of fuel strategy and a race against the weather, as NASCAR would call the race official after 170 laps. And finally, we have Michael Annett. The only NASCAR win in Annett's career would come in 2019 at Daytona. He would pilot the 1 for Junior Motorsports from 2019 until 2021. And then on to honorable mentions. Hot Wheels, Mason, and Divine would all mention Hermie Sadler. Elliott wouldn't be the only Sadler to drive the number 1 in Xfinity. Hermie would run the Sadler Racing number 1 Chevy for the 1995 through 1997 seasons. While never grabbing a win, he would finish second 3 total times. And that brings us to our current driver. When I announced we would be doing Xfinity Series Number History, Mayer had 0 wins in his career. Now at the time of this recording, he's a 2-time winner in the 1 car. That's how crazy number history can truly be. Mayer would begin driving the Junior Motorsports number 1 in 2022, and he would record an impressive 13 top 5s before finally finding victory lane. Same would get his first victory at Road America in 2023, and then 3 weeks later he would get his second and the number's most recent win at Watkins Glen. At the time of this recording, he's on a streak of 5 top 5s, with an average finish of 2.2 in the last 5 races. It is said that after you get your first win, it gets easier to keep adding to that total. Could we see Mayer break out of his shell here? Moving right along, we have another number with quite a bit of history in the Xfinity Series. A lot of winners and races completed. Here's the number 2. The number 2 has 39 total wins with 12 different drivers. It's competed in 1,022 races and counting with a 3.8 win percentage. The 2 would also come around in the Xfinity Series first season. Tommy Hilbert would take it to Bristol in 1982, where he would finish 8th in the number's first appearance. He would make 8 total starts in the Xfinity Series, and he would collect 3 top 10s in his time. And then we move on to the first to win. The driver to make the 2 a winner would be LD Ottinger. He would win at Hampton in 1986. LD drove the 2 for Parker Racing from 1986 until 1990. He would make 206 Xfinity Series starts in his career, and he would win 3 times in this number 2 ride. And now we go to the driver with the most wins. The winningest driver for the 2 is a future Hall of Famer. Kevin Harvick would win 8 races in the Richard Childress Racing 2 machine from 1999 until 2001. He would win 3 races in 2000. 2001 would be a whirlwind of a year for Harvick, as he would fill the shoes left after Dale Earnhardt's tragic passing at the Daytona 500. He would run full-time in the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series that season. He would win 5 races in the Xfinity Series, winning the championship that year, and he would also win 2 races in the Cup Series and finish 9th in the standings there. Harvick will show up again, as he is a 47-time winner in the series. And then we move on to other winners. First up is Tyler Reddick. Reddick has the second most wins in the two. He's tied with another driver that we'll get to shortly. Reddick would put together one of the most dominant Xfinity Series seasons in recent memory in the RCR2 car. He would win 6 races en route to the Xfinity Series Championship. He would collect 24 top 5s in a 33-race season. That is incredible. And then tied with Reddick for wins in the 2 car would be the 2008 Xfinity Series champion, Clint Bowyer. Bowyer would drive the RCR2 from 2005 until 2008, collecting 6 wins in that time. Bowyer was also a full-time Cup and Xfinity Series driver during this time as well, a true Ironman. The next winner we discuss would be a 4-time Xfinity Series runner-up for the championship. Elliott Sadler would win 4 times in the 2 ride, all coming for RCR. And here's a fun fact. His first season with the 2 car would be with Kevin Harvick Inc. in 2011, the team's last season ever in the Xfinity Series. And then up next would be the 2002 Daytona 500 winner, Ward Burton. Ward would win 3 times in the 2 machine, all coming for A.G. Dillard Motorsports in 1993. And then Austin Dillon is next on our list, and he would grab 2 wins in his grandfather's 2 machine in 2016. And don't worry, we'll definitely be talking about Dillon again very soon. And then we have Ricky Craven. Craven would win twice in the RC Racing 2 car in 1994. And then the last of our multi-time winners would be Truck Series legend Ron Hornaday Jr. Hornaday would win twice in the 2, in 2003 and 2004 with Richard Childress Racing. And now we move on to one-time winners in the number. Michael McDowell would win his only Xfinity Series race at Road America in 2016 for RCR. This would be his only start in the 2 car and his last Xfinity start ever. He went out with a bang, that's for sure. And then Johnny Sauter rounds out our list until we get to our last to win. Sauter would get his first of 3 Xfinity Series wins at Chicagoland in 2002 with RCR. And that takes us to the last to win. The last to take the 2 to victory lane would be Myatt Snider. Snider would win at Homestead in 2021 for his only Xfinity Series win. And now let's move to honorable mentions. Left Turn, Hot Wheels, Marcus, Divine, Skytay, and Impact all suggested Brian Scott. Scott would drive the RCR2 ride full-time from 2013 until 2015. He would finish second 4 times and would make the playoffs each year he was with the number. And the Mature, Dillon, and Impact would all suggest Sam Hornish Jr. He would only make 3 starts in the number for RCR, but he would finish second at Mid-Ohio in 2016, coming oh so close to victory. And then that takes us to our current driver. The current driver of the 2 is Sheldon Creed. Creed is a Truck Series champion, and he has been the driver of the 2 since 2022. And while he hasn't won yet, he has finished second 4 times. The win for Creed is right around the corner. Will we see it in 2023? And then we move on to a fan favorite. It needs no introduction. Here is the 3. The 3 has won 33 total times with 6 different drivers. It's competed in 571 total races with a 5.8 win percentage. The 3 has been in the series from the very beginning. Mike Porter would run it in the very first Xfinity Series race at Daytona in 1982. He would start on the pole and would finish 7th in the number's first race. And then we move on to the first to win. And who better to get the number's first win in the series than Dale Earnhardt? The first win would come at Dale's Playground, Daytona, in 1990. All in all, the Intimidator would win 9 times in the number in his self-owned car. And fun fact, Earnhardt would win the very first ever Xfinity Series race at Daytona in a number still to be discussed. And then we move on to the most wins. And it's only fitting that the first to win in the number and the driver with the most wins for it are both Earnhardts. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the winningest driver for the 3 in the Xfinity Series with 15 total wins. 13 of those 15 would come with DEI in 1998 and 1999, where he would win back-to-back series championships. The other 2 wins would come with RCR. These wins would come at the same track that the Earnhardts are masters of, Daytona. We all remember the incredible win there in 2010 running a throwback Wrangler scheme of his father's. This would be his last win in the number. I could talk forever about how intertwined the three and the Earnhardts are, but I think it's pretty obvious to us all, so let's move on. And that takes us to other winners. First on our other winners list is Steve Park. Park would claim all three of his Xfinity Series wins in the number, all coming in the 1997 season for DEI. And then there's Ron Hornaday. Hornaday would collect his first two Xfinity Series wins with the DEI number 3, both of which came in the 2000 season. And finally there's Ty Dillon, the younger brother of Austin. Ty would claim his only Xfinity Series win in the number, coming in 2014 at Indianapolis, driving for his grandfather's team RCR. And then that brings us to the last to win. Austin Dillon would be the last driver to take the 3 to victory lane, winning at Michigan in 2018. Dillon is a 3-time winner for the number, and would also bring it a championship in 2013. Oddly enough, he would win that title without winning a single race. That's pretty wild. And then we're on to honorable mentions. Coleslaw Custard, Mature Storm, Dillon, and Divine wanted to make sure I didn't forget Shane Lee for this one. He would make 13 starts in the RCR 3 ride with a best finish of 4th. And then Young Money, Dice, Zachary, Roadside, Blowed, Not Cole Custer, and Steak Fan all mentioned Jeffrey Earnhardt. This was a super cool moment. Jeffrey would team up with Larry McReynolds at RCR for a race at Talladega in 2022. They would come oh so close to victory, finishing 2nd. This is a great mention. And then we move to the current driver. There isn't a current full-time driver of the number 3. Ty Dillon was the last to drive it, making select appearances in 2023, with the last being Pocono. We finished this one out with the number 4. There's no better time than the present, so let's get into it. The number 4 has 7 total wins with 4 different drivers. It's competed in 950 total races with a 0.7 win percentage. The 4 has also been in the series from the very beginning, with Connie Saylor running it at Daytona in 1982. He would finish 29th in this one, so not the best start for the number. And then that takes us to the first to win. The first to win in the number is also tied for the most wins with it. Ernie Irvan would win the numbers first in 1992 at Watkins Glen. He would win the very next race he would enter that season, at Talladega. These wins would come as an owner-driver for Ernie Irvan Racing. That's gotta feel good. And then we move on to the most wins. So we just said Irvan was tied for the most wins in the number, and he would be tied with 2 other drivers. The first of which would be Jeff Purvis. He would claim both of his victories in the 4 with Phoenix Racing in 1996. The first would come at Richmond, and the second would come at Michigan. The other driver tied for the most wins would be none other than Smoke himself, Tony Stewart. Both of his wins in the number would come at Daytona, driving for Kevin Harvick Incorporated. He would win the season opening races at the World Center of Racing in back-to-back seasons of 2010 and 2011. The 2011 win at Daytona would also be the last time the number would visit Victory Lane. And then there's only one other winner to mention for the 4 ride. Mike Wallace would win at Daytona in 2004 for Biaggi Brothers Racing. This would be Wallace's final Xfinity Series win as well. And then on to honorable mentions. Left Turn, Rick, Regera, Dice, Skytay, Impact, Fallboy, Malcolm, Luna, and Blowed all suggested Ross Chastain. This is a pretty solid mention, as he would outperform his equipment and make the Xfinity Series playoffs in the ride in 2018. Great mention for the Melon Man. And then we move to the current driver. The current driver of the 4 is a mixed bag. JD Motorsports runs it with a rotation of different drivers. Kyle Weatherman would be the last to pilot it at Watkins Glen in 2023. Ty Dillon, Garrett Smithley, and Bailey Curry all spend time in the ride as well. Curry was the last dedicated full-time driver of it in 2022. This one hasn't been to Victory Lane in over a decade. Who looks to change that? And that'll do it for the first episode of NASCAR Xfinity Series Number History. This was a ton of fun to do, and it has taught me so much already. As always, I'm prone to forgetting drivers. Let me know who I missed for this one down below. If you haven't seen the Cup Series Number History videos, that playlist will be linked below as well. We will be back next time for numbers 5 through 9. There are some pretty significant numbers in that one as well, so you don't want to miss it. If you liked the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. It helps a ton and I definitely appreciate it. And did you know that 72% of my viewers aren't subscribed, but they are returning viewers? If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, what are you waiting for? Be sure to check out the community tab of the channel. We do cool little giveaways like autographed merch and diecast, as well as do updates and polls for the channel. You don't want to miss it. And we also have a Discord server. Find the invite in the About section of the channel or in the description below, and come join us over there for even more fun and learning, as well as some exclusive contests. But that'll do it for us here at Dogleg Media. I'm Matt, your host, and you've been watching NASCAR Number History. I'll see you next time.